The incentivization is usually anywhere from $200 to $600 per fully vaccinated patient, as long as their vaccines, a certain percentage of their practice is fully vaccinated. So some pediatricians can make upwards to $1 million or more a year just in those incentives.
Do you remember we were told that vaccines had saved millions of lives during the pandemic? Well, that was just another lie. Hello there, you awakening wonder. Like a drowning man, the thing they clung to in the end was the idea that somehow perhaps vaccines had saved millions of lives during the pandemic. Even that dubious fact has been challenged now. I get these IVs, by the way. That's what I'm doing now. I'm going to be interviewing Tommy Robinson, but apparently he's on the run. So let's tell the truth about vaccines together on Unpacked with Russell Brand.
I have taken Pfizer boosters regularly.
Frantic activity in that studio as well, by the way. Why don't they just sit down, not like us? Get yourself a nice drip and report the news.
And a few weeks ago, since I'd gotten one of those, you are of a certain age and you should get another booster, after I went and had a COVID test because I'd been around so many people, and it was negative, I went ahead and had the booster. I will tell you, it was the worst experience I've ever had.
When you say worst experience, what do you mean?
I mean, it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. It was delicious. Everyone should get more vaccines, more booster shots. Haven't Moderna and Pfizer done enough work testing that vaccine on up to about, 9 or 10 mouses? How much money do Pfizer and Moderna need? How much myocarditis, pericarditis and various other conditions need to be unleashed on the population before people start to acknowledge the simple fact that this pandemic would have been better handled if no one had told us it was happening and just simply let us get on with our lives. It's possible even that there are viruses. I mean, I don't feel that well right now, as a matter of fact. Probably got something, but we don't need to shut down all of society unless we want to turn every single event into an opportunity to profit and control, where interests converge. No conspiracy is necessary.
But you don't need a formal conspiracy.
Right.
When interests converge, these people went to the same universities and fraternities. They're on the same boards of directors. They're in the same country clubs. They have like interests. They don't need to call a meeting. They know what's good for them.
Here's some reporting on the deception we all endured when it came to the efficacy of those vaccines from the Telegraph. The reason this matters is because now, through the Maha movement, Bobby Kennedy, Dr. Oz, Jay Bhattacharya, Maya Makari, Callie Means, Asim Malhotra, we have an opportunity to reframe the way the United States of America interacts with the pharmaceutical industry, in particular with regard to vaccines, and in so doing, the whole world will reform its perspective on vaccines. Let's get into it. COVID vaccines saved far fewer lives than first thought. Not thought, propagated. A major new analysis has concluded, with researchers criticising aggressive mandates. Last year, the World Health Organization claimed jabs had prevented the deaths of 14.4 million globally in the first year alone, with some estimates putting the figure closer to 20 million. However, new modelling by Stanford University and Italian researchers, well, we can't trust them, Stanford University, conspiracy theorists, Italian researchers, probably initially support some research, then change and report different research that directly opposes the original research. Second World War joke there. Suggests that while vaccines did save lives, the true figure was substantially more conservative and closer to 2.5 million. And by the way, I mean, who's compiling that information, and are they including in their calculations suicides, drug overdoses, people that couldn't receive cancer treatments or heart treatments, poverty, the despair caused by the collapsing of businesses, addiction? How can we trust this figure even? The team estimates that 9 of 10 prevented deaths were in the over 60s, with jabs saving just 299 people aged under 20. In the world, all that trouble was for 299 people. They better be good at football or beautiful. They better be advertising American Eagle jeans, those 299 people. If they're anything short of drop dead gorgeous, it was a waste of our money and time. And 1,000 people aged between 20 and 30 globally. Over 5,400 people needed to be vaccinated to save one life, but in the under 30s, this figure rose to 100,000 jabs, the paper suggests. So essentially, you could make an argument for vaccinating against bee stings or peanut allergies. Researchers criticised aggressive mandates and the zealotry to vaccinate everyone at all costs. adding that the findings had implications for how future vaccine rollouts were handled. John Ioannidis, a professor of medicine at Stanford University and the study's first author, said, "I think early estimates were based on many parameters having values that are incompatible with our current understanding. In principle, targeting the populations who would get the vast majority of the benefit, let alone those with questionable risk-benefit and cost-benefit, makes sense. Aggressive mandates and the zealotry to vaccinate everyone at all costs were probably a bad idea." Now, this might be being presented as new information, but you know and I know that that was obvious at the time. So what incentives were the medical industry, and in particular the pharmaceutical industry, responding to in order to advocate so strongly for these measures?
What is the truth? Because I hear back and forth. I mean, do pediatricians get incentivized with percent vaccination of their...
Yes. Dr. Paul Thomas has done a very good video on that, and many other pediatricians have followed. Maybe Dr. Hooker could answer better on that.
They're typically incentivized directly by HMOs. HMOs buy and sell vaccines, so vaccines are big businesses for HMOs. But the incentivization is usually anywhere from $200 to $600 per fully vaccinated patient, as long as their vaccines, a certain percentage of their practice is fully vaccinated. So some pediatricians can make upwards to $1 million or more a year just in those incentives.
I've also heard stories of pediatricians basically firing patients because they won't get vaccinated, because that is
correct.
We hear that story over and over again. And also the lies that the pediatrician tell us that our baby will die if we don't get vitamin K at birth.
Oh, Polly, Tommy, medicine.
The baby will bleed out before it gets to the car. And these stories, if you don't get the HPV vaccine, then you will die of cancer. These parents have told us these stories, and they're the same over and over again. How can they get away with lying like that to us, the parents?
I think we've all long understood that there's a financial component when it comes to the pharmaceutical, what do they call it again? Industry. Oh yeah, industry. It's there to make money. More than 13 billion COVID vaccine doses have been administered since 2021, but there have been mounting concerns that vaccines could be harmful for some people, particularly the young, and that the risk was not worth the benefit for a population at little risk from COVID. More than 17,500 Britons have applied to the government vaccine damage payment scheme, believing they or loved ones were injured by the jabs. In June, manufacturers added warnings for myocarditis and pericarditis to the prescribing information of COVID messenger RNA vaccines. For the new study, the experts used worldwide population data alongside vaccine effectiveness and infection fatality rates to estimate how many people died from COVID infection before or after the periods of vaccination. The team believes earlier modelling may have used overly pessimistic infection fatality rates and overly optimistic vaccine effectiveness, while failing to consider how quickly protection waned. Earlier studies may also have estimated how many people have been unknowingly infected by the time they had the vaccine. It would seem that the claims that we ought trust the science and follow the science was somewhat misleading and dubious, given that scientific information could be manipulated and managed in order to create certain outcomes, in order to further create a particular impression. The idea of science was used rather than science itself. The idea that this was a medically mandated, clinically researched, foolproof method, or at least only nominally and minimally risky set of measures, is increasingly being exposed as a set of lies. And you'd have been better off in the first place, get this, trusting Alex Jones or Joe Rogan or David Icke or me than the BBC or the New York Times. What does that tell you? It tells you that in spite of the individual biases and flaws of any of the people on the list I just named, they are as nothing compared to the deep institutional biases that come from either corporate or state-sponsored media. You'd be better off taking your chances dealing with well-meaning amateurs than the sets of professional yet totally corrupted institutional powers that go out to bat continually for the government. Whatever country you're in, it's basically the same. Have you ever caught yourself reaching for a bad habit without even thinking about it? That's where Fume comes in. Fume, the sponsor of today's video, offers a simple and enjoyable way to break away from bad habits while still having something satisfying to reach for. No vapor, no nicotine, just flavour. Fume is an award-winning flavoured air device that delivers great taste without any harmful chemicals. Instead of inhaling vapour, you simply breathe in natural, non-toxic flavours that satisfy the craving without the downside. It's great for oral fixation and fidgeting, whether you're looking to keep your hands busy, curb an urge. Fume's premium wooden design is built for both flavour and function. 500,000 people have realised that Fume is a fun way to tackle your habits. Fume, something to fidget with, portable. My favourite, crisp mint, although citric not bad either. For a limited time, if you order the Journey Pack using my code RussellBrand, you'll get a free Fume topper, an awesome accessory to level up your experience. Click the link tryfume.com/RussellBrand or scan the QR code on the screen to get yours today. Scan the QR code on the screen. Get your Fume. Fidget. Suck on the sweet air of Fume, baby. Dr. Angela Maria Pizzulo, a researcher in general and applied hygiene at the Catholic University of the Sacred Heart in Milan, said, "For 4 hours, several studies tried to estimate lives saved by vaccines with different models and in different periods or parts of the world. But this one is the most comprehensive because it's based on worldwide data. It also covers the Omicron period." Oh my God, I've forgotten Omicron. Do you remember that now, when they started getting named after Transformers? It also calculates the number of years of life that was saved, and it's based on fewer assumptions about the pandemic trend. The team calculated that around 14.8 million life years. Oh God. I mean, once you have to start adding up the hypothetical years of life saved, the whole thing is kind of exposed as ridiculous. The over 70s made up nearly 70% of the lives saved. So the best estimates are that some elderly people may have lived a little longer. But that doesn't seem to me to be the genuine motivation for many of the regulations, measures and mandates that took place during that period. If you were to look at it from a kind of quo bono perspective, who benefited? Well, you'd say governments benefited because they were able to regulate and assert authority and legitimise a lot of projects that they were considering for a long time around digital ID, for example, and testing the flexibility of their cultures and societies when it comes to the imposition of strong measures. Pharmaceutical companies benefited, big tech companies benefited, all sorts of large corporations and large companies benefited because small businesses were disproportionately penalised and shut down while Walmart, McDonald's, etc. and other fast food chains were able to stay open. Small mom and pop style businesses were forced to shut down. It's only when you look at the full picture, not just information around vaccines and potential life change, but the economic impact and the broader impact on health, that you start to get a picture of just how mendacious that period was, just how nefarious the interests involved were, and just how important it is that through Bobby Kennedy and Dr. Oz and the list of names that I commonly cite, that we now have in government leaders that are willing to confront pharmaceutical interests and regulate big pharma in the manner that this pandemic period clearly demonstrates is necessary. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments and chat. Remember, we stream on Rumble at these times on these days. Join us there if you can. Stay free. Thanks for watching the video. Have a look at this one over here, or join us Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on Rumble.